So, please join the room. So, welcome everyone in the room and online to the session here in beautiful Isbra. You don't see much of it as we're sitting here, but I can assure you it's beautiful outside. My name is Gjermund Jakobsen. I will work for the Norwegian Public Road Administration in Norway, and I will guide you through and moderate this session. And this session explores the effort of the MODI and ULTIMO projects in addressing challenges of HD map standardization for urban public transport and long-distance freight, and building on the foundation of harmonized data infrastructure like the TNITS. So, the objectives for this session. We're going to examine the role of HD maps, and we're going to explore MODI and ULTIMO's approaches. We will then identify strategies for harmonizing HD map, and then try to explore sustainable business models. And this we will do with our fantastic panelists and presenters. So we have Christian Kleine, we have Safera Gulu, Tore Abelvik, and Gus Arts. And I will first like you to introduce you to Christian. He will be our first presenter. And Christian Kleine, he's a manager product partnerships at HARE. He's been leading initiatives, and he's leading initiatives on open data and public-private cooperation. And of course, he's active then in initiatives such as TNITS and DATEX and National Access Points. He's the president of TNITS and also a member of the technical working group for data for road safety. So, with that, I welcome Christian on the stage.
Thanks a lot, Gjermund, and welcome everyone to this afternoon session. I will talk a little bit about HD map data acquisition and delivery, so how HD maps are produced or what data is flowing inside of HD maps, and also tell a little bit more about standardization, and then especially about standardization between the interface between public authorities and private companies using those data. Now I know. But first of all, I would explain a little bit why, and I think for most of you, you are experts. It's more or less obvious why an HD map is really important and crucial for automated driving, because there are a lot of challenges where you need a location inside. So for example, the first picture where you need a precise location is really to help to identify your vehicle relative the relative position to other roads, and you know what is behind the corner. Then also complementing perception of sensors. So when a sensor is obstructed, so the car knows what can be behind this this obstruction. Of course, planning, route planning, path planning. This I think something which is obvious for maps, and also you need there HD maps because you have slopes, so the gradient, you have to know the gradient, you have to know the different lanes. And here are some other three challenges. So for example, implicit rules. So you cannot see everything with a camera or with a LiDAR, because there's some regulations which are behind, and you need to know where you are and then what regulation is especially on this road, or what regulation applies. So which, for example, which speed limit is there, and when it's not a posted speed limit, that's for example in an urban area. Other road user interaction. So HD map has also inside information about crosswalks, about bicycle lanes, And so the car can already adapt a little bit, or the vehicle can adapt what can maybe happen, or if there are maybe some other road users present on those parts of the road. And then the ODD management to know where the car is allowed to switch to an automated mode. But where does this data come from? And then this is really a very, very simplified picture of how the data is flowing into a map. Because, for example, we have around 80K sources globally. And this all needs to be orchestrated, conflated, and then to make sense out of it. But those are the main categories, I would say. So it's first of all it's not only our mobile mapping, it's mobile mapping with LiDAR. So there are a lot of also companies outside which are already doing this mobile mapping, and then we're acquiring data from them. A lot of is vehicle sensor data, so vehicle perception data we call it now, VPD, which can be everything. So it's starting with probe data, but then it goes to really edge detection of signs, which we are getting from, I think it's around more than 44 million vehicles worldwide. So it's really a big amount of data which is flowing inside. And then we should not forget, and then I think this is one of or for the future should be one of the most important data coming into a map is coming data from road authorities, because they are making the regulation. So we heard this morning something about the digital traffic regulation. And once this is really inside a digital infrastructure, then it's really easy accessible via national access points. And then what is also coming more and more is data from CITS and infrastructure, which is connected. So for example, connected traffic lights, dynamic speed limits, which is all flowing into the HD map or the service of the HD map. So you also have to maybe differentiate in an HD map between a static layer, which is all about the physical infrastructure, and a dynamic layer, which is, for example, dynamic speed limits, traffic conditions, weather conditions, and so on. So these are all parts of what is really flowing inside in different layers. But then how it comes to the vehicle. So we have all this different data, and then we have very I would say sophisticated map production pipelines, and then processing, validation of this data, because at the end it needs to be decided what from all those different sources, what is the real world what is the real world attribute. And and then nowadays the data is or the HD map is delivered in different layers, tiles, over the air update, and then also really edge delivery in connected vehicles. So the vehicle gets really the most and then fresh up-to-date data via this connection. It's published in different formats, and then we come already to some kind of standardization. Of course, we adhere, but also TomTom has it, where we have an own format, which is based on protobooth, but also NDS Live plays a role. So it will also be delivered in NDS, which is a navigation standard, which is an industry standard, maintained by different industry players, big OEMs, but also big map and service providers. But and then I would also explain a little bit about how and what data, or about the data chain between public authorities and service providers, map providers, because there we have a TNITS format, which is a standardized exchange data for trusted road data. So, for example, when you have those traffic regulations digitized, and you can transfer this data via TNITS to the national access points, where then service providers, map makers are gathering this data, and what we are already doing. And so it covers a lot of road attributes, which are for navigation, and then which are also the foundation of an HD map. so like speed limits, restrictions, lanes. But we also expanding now the specification to HD map relevant attributes. It's still under discussion because for the moment it's also from industry perspective not really defined what is really needed from road authorities and then in which level of detail. Yeah, just to mention, TNITS is a multi-stakeholder platform coordinated by Ertico and road authorities as members, but also map providers, and we have the three big map providers, Google Maps, TomTom, and here as partner in this initiative. Okay. Could you hear me? Because now I approach the microphone a little bit better. Yeah, so I would say with this association, we are really covering, I would say 98-99% of the commercial map market. So yeah, but what are still the challenges? So, what is coming in the future? To have a larger deployment, because for the moment, HD maps are available for certain types of routes, mostly motorways. We would need faster and more frequent updates because real world is changing quite frequently. Higher quality and precision when you think of urban areas. So it's a big challenge to map this really into an HD map. Yeah, the multi-source data integration, which, for example, we at here are really working on. We trying to funnel everything into one database, and then also with now AI and then some algorithm behind to already come to an automated updating of HD map. Of course, cross-border data harmonization, and then also as automated driving is something which is part of EU policy, and then also the RTTI direction, general safety regulation. So HD maps can all support those EU policies, but it's still a challenge. So, for example, the intelligent speed assistant is something which is supported by a map, and this is part of the general safety regulation. Yeah. So, just to summarize, I think HD maps will be in the future shared responsibility. So it cannot only be done by only one party. As mentioned, TNITS is really the bridge between road authorities and map makers. And if you want know more, you can scan this QR code. And thanks a lot for your attention.
Yeah, just thank you, Christian.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Christian, and we have to share the microphone a little bit. But how can you can use that one? Yeah. How can map providers collaborate more effectively to standardize HMAP while maintaining still a competitive innovation?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for this question. Good question. No, I think this is already happening with NDS, for example, but it's really industry driven. So there's an industry need to have this, and what we need to take into consideration is that you have the standardization on safety critical layers, on base layers, but those standards, they still need to be open for competitive advantages for differentiation, and then also needs to be open for innovation. So that's, I think, one really important point when it comes to standards. And in my opinion, when it comes to the link between the OEMs and service providers, I think it's a really an industry-driven need, and then we see already some developments there. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christian. Just sit down there, please. Yeah. Thank you. So next up is Sofira. Sofira is from the ZF Group, and she's a project program manager for Scalar, ZF's fleet orchestration platform on demand mobility. Safera is here today to discuss the use of HDMAP in fleet orchestration of autonomous mobility services. Please welcome.
Thank you, and hi, everyone. So I'm here, as said, to discuss fleet orchestration within the ULTIMO context and how we see the challenges and solutions in that context from the fleet orchestration perspective. But I would first start with actually describing a bit the role of fleet orchestration in both really human-driven and autonomous vehicles and services. We are the link that connects the passenger to the vehicle via the transport network. And we do that by providing an end-to-end solutions for transport operators to plan their services and allowing them to have end-to-end automating services from dispatching, routing, and routing to business intelligence. And we aim to optimize the services by sending the right vehicle to the right place at the right time and also real time. And in order to do that, we need to have access to the whole image of the whole service area, how it looks now when the decision is taken, but also how it's going to look in the future based on what we know now. So we need to cover the whole transport network in order to be able to optimize our solutions and make sure that operators have as effective services as possible. So what we see that high-definition maps can offer, I think here I'm going to have some overlap with the previous presenter. First of all, the support of ODD generation and validation. This is something that today comes directly from or can come from autonomous vehicles, and the detail and the precision of the information that is on that layer when it comes to information, but also resolution, for example, lane level attributes, makes the vehicle a lot more aware of its surroundings and a lot more precise when it comes to where it is located. And this makes the vehicle a lot more smarter, and enhances intelligent decision making, not only on the vehicle level, for example, how to tackle an obstacle, but also on the fleet orchestration level, provided that the information that is updated in the HD maps also disseminates from our map providers to the fleet orchestration in a timely manner. And this leads to overall improved reliability in regular conditions, in more extreme conditions like bad weather, for example, and thus to increase service quality and user experience by the end users who are the travelers. And this is a new technology. We see some challenges, and we hope that the provided solutions would be able to tackle them. HD maps are highly detailed maps, and this means also a large volume of data. And when you are only looking at the surroundings of the vehicles, maybe it's not that large, but when you really want to analyze the whole operational area, then this can create some probably latency issues that we would like to avoid when we are talking about real-time optimization and routing in autonomous mobility services. Then we know that these maps combine different sources of information coming from different actors, and the real-time updates can benefit but also create some challenges. And here we see that the solutions and the processes when it comes to maintenance and updates have to take into account interoperability and reliability of the information, so that as fleet orchestrators we know that we can count on that, and we send the vehicles to the right location with the right information. And of course, standardization, which is a known challenge even today with standard definition maps. We know that we need to have customized integrations every time that we are using a new map provider. And here we are looking forward to more collaborative projects like ULTIMO, where we can discuss the use cases, discuss how the different actors are involved, and define the standards that are used for each one of them. No, it's not moving. It's not going to the next slide. I guess there will be questions in this one. Here. So to conclude, again, fleet orchestration is the link between the passenger and the vehicle, exploiting artificial intelligence and the data that it comes from different providers. And of course, this link can become more intelligent when it accesses more information. And we see HD maps as the collective geospatial knowledge for mainly routing, but also planning, with information that we want it to be relevant, reliable, and also managed in a scalable way, so that it can really help our solution to an effective and efficient transport service. Thank you.
Thank you, Severa. I have another question for you as well. So what are the key challenges fleet orchestration face when consuming HD maps? Mm-hmm. And how do you at ZF address them for the orchestration of diverse fleets?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. First of all, we're still talking about a technology that is under development, so we aim to address these challenges by participating in projects like ULTIMO. And I think I'm going to repeat basically parts of the presentation. Data volume is one of the biggest challenges that we see we need to work with together with map providers. We might need to maybe filter some of the information, or maybe combine, have a hybrid SD and HD map set up in order to both have updated information and detailed information, but also guarantee for the operational robustness that we need for our operations. And then I think the standardization is another challenge that everybody would agree, and we need to work with all the actors in the ecosystem. And we also aim at ZF to having an vehicle-agnostic fleet orchestration platform, which means that we need standards in order to achieve that. And ULTIMO is part of the project where we develop these standards. And also we want to be able to facilitate use cases from the whole spectrum of orchestration, from urban dense areas and passenger transportation or goods transportation to long-haul logistics over highways and even cross-country transports. So we're working towards that direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Severa. Our next presenter, Tore. Tore is a Deputy Director General, Land Mapping Division at the Norwegian Mapping Authority. And he's been for several years working on digital maps navigation data and data for that is used in HDMap. So Tore, welcome on the stage.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a smooth border crossing between Norway and Sweden. It was a bit legacy on the video, but this was the part in the MODI project from Sweden to Norway, and it also is a border crossing between EU and no EU member. I will talk a little bit of the foundational public data as the backbone of harmonized infrastructure of HD map. I'm working on the Norwegian Mapping Authority. I will just briefly tell you a little bit about the Mapping Authority. And I also think that we should have more mapping authorities in this kind of conference. We have a lot of data collected from the authorities, from the private sector. We have information about the properties, the property boundaries, the national boundaries, and also the addresses to be used in the navigation. We also have a sea division who deliver navigation maps for sea at sea, and we also maintains an international database for maps on sea with 19 countries. And on land, of course, we have different detailed maps in different scales. We also deliver navigation data, also in collaboration with the National Road Administration from the Norwegian Road Database. And we also collect data from LiDAR scanning from airplanes, orthophoto. We make digital terrain models. And we also collect LiDAR data from drones and also from mobile mapping. We have a national database to collect the point cloud, so it can be accessed and used for others. We also have a geodesy department, and I think the geodetic part is a little bit underestimated because it's really play a crucial role when it also comes to HD map and the accuracy of the position systems. And it's you can see in the picture it's an antenna up north in Svalbard, and it's connected to different antennas around the world. And it's also a cooperation with NASA. And with this antenna we can measure the sea level rising for like in centimeter accuracy, and also the land moving, how the land is moving. And this antenna is also important for the adjustment of the GNSS systems, calibrating the satellites. So this is for all of us really an important antenna. Don't tell anyone. So to the HD map, we have a lot of data that we think that when we put it together, we can have a HD map. We see here the crosswalk, the stop lines, all kind of different lanes, signal lights, and that put together we can make a HD map. And in the MODI project, We deliver a report for optimal designs of physical and digital infrastructure at public roads. In MODI, we categorize different data types, and we also prioritize them in order that we mean it's we think that was the most important data, and we also put them in different like the HD map layers in the road connectivity, geometry, and semantic layer, and also the data in real-time layer. This is also this kind of data is someone that we see from Christian's presentation also, and from Safira. It's overlapping, and it's data that we have access to. We produce this kind of data from the mapping authority and the public the road administration, and we run a test in MODI to use this available data. We tested the OpenDrive format. It's a different format to deliver to a HD map, but we test OpenDrive because we know that it's good for one thing is to test in simulation, that the outcome is for use in simulation, and also for navigation. And we use data collection from point cloud, from orthoimagery and vector data and elevation model, and we put it together in a software called Road Runner to export to OpenDrive, so we can sort of get a HD map and test it. And the result, this was from the part that you saw in the video, from Sweden to Norway. And it's a really detailed map. It contains centimeter accuracy, and this is the area where we go into the custom area. It's also the border crossing is one of the big problem or challenges when you're have the border crossing. So there it's important to have really detailed map, and also the attributes is connected to the map, the lanes and so on, the speed limits, and this data are connected to the attributes. And this is the bridge to Norway in Svinesund. So to use foundational public data as the backbone of harmonized infrastructure, we see in the MODI project that it's we need to have the cost efficiency focus. It's like more you had said, it's due to high cost of maintaining accurate database, and should target data types with the highest potential impact. So we have to prioritize of valuable data types. That is, it's important because of the cost also. And like Christian said, I think it was more or less the next step we identify. We have to define the required data quality, and the update frequency will be important. We have to establish maintenance standards for prioritized data, and it's a bit missing here, but we think that standards are needed to the full production chain for HD map, from the data collection to the production and sharing, update and maintenance of the HD map. And I see now the last couple of years it has been a lot more thing going on with the standardization. I think it's really going in the right way. So that was yes, thank you.
Thank you, Tore. I have a little bit follow-up question as well. So what kind of role do you see that the governmental authorities should play when facilitating the open data and while still ensuring quality and security?
Yes. one thing about the security. The last 2-3 years, the way we look at open data have been changing. The geopolitical situation has changed. It's demanded us to think a lot more on security and not share information about critical infrastructure. The HD map is really accurate and detailed map of critical infrastructure. That it's also, I think, we need to consider, and we need to know who can access our data. That is also a question on what we call democratical control of our data. But on the other hand, the authority, I think we can play a great role in making data public available, and in cooperation with user, make sure we produce the right data with the right wanted quality, but we have to maintain the security when we deliver access to the data. That is important.
Thank you very much, Tore. Last but not least, Gus Arts. Gus is a project manager for DAF Innovative Vehicle Automation Projects, in which he leads the way in the area of automated vehicle developments, which also includes publicly funded projects like Ensemble, and Helm UK, Magpie, and of course MODI. So please welcome.
And thank you for the introduction. So from an OEM perspective, from a vehicle manufacturer perspective, I'd like to give some insights on what we do with HD maps. So to start with my first slide here, well, the need for HD maps, first and foremost, well, basically how we see it, an HD map is a virtual sensor, in fact, that is required for many CCAM applications to understand, to let the vehicle understand the road environment. In that way, it provides input for localization, which is one of the most important elements, but also for perception and planning. An HD map is a necessity, I would say. But again, mainly for localization, it's an important, not to ignore topic. So such HD maps provide high precision information from in fact beyond the reach of onboard vehicle sensors, because that's the reason why you want to have this virtual sensor in the first place. Did I do something? Wait a second.
Welcome back. You think that we don't work with technology?
Yeah. We rely on it. All right, you can do a dance in the meanwhile. Oh, really?
You come back when just step down.
Okay, I'll do it like that.
And then once the presentation is back up. So while we wait, instead of waiting for the technology, I will then ask you to find your phones. Please find your phones. And you go to menti.com. And then, now, pay attention, because now you have to remember the numbers. Menti.com, and then the code. Menti.com. 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 And then you will find a place where you can join with a code. And the code is 12191426. Okay. Some problems with all the rooms, so but we will make it up here. So now I see people are. The code is 12191426. I repeat, 12191426. Good. We're having, and once you have voted, then you will also see the result on the next page. And I see that we have 4 respondents, 6 respondents on the proprietary systems. High cost, I also have a high number. The question is, what is the biggest barrier to... Oh, it didn't show. Okay, the question is, what is the biggest barrier to HD map harmonization? Crucial information. And then so far the proprietary systems is leading the vote, followed by high costs on the second. And I'm glad, since I work in a public authority, that insufficient government policies on only 1 vote, so that's good. Lack of standardization, a little bit surprising, that's actually quite low. And now we have soon Gus' presentation is back, so you can come back, Gus, and continue with your presentation. And thank you very much for your participation to the poll.
Okay, I will continue where I left with the second bullet point, in fact. Didn't do anything. So, what shall we do?
Another poll?
Another poll. Okay, great. Shall I do it, or will you come over?
So we try again until we are back. We have another poll. Gus, you ready? So the next poll, so you can then go back to menti.com again, refresh your page, and then you will get a new code until we are back. And the new code is 81469693. And the question is, yes, if we can see it, 81469693. There, I see people. The question is, what stakeholder action would most accelerate HD map deployment? The code is 81469693. And improve industry collaboration is getting quite a lot of votes there. And of course, now number 4, developing sustainable business models is also getting high. Investment in open data standards. Standards is getting more on this one than compared to the other one. And again, I'm happy that clearer governmental policies have a low score since I work at the public authorities. Investment in open data platforms has a high score together with development of business models. Second time, Gus, we'll try again. Third time's a charm. Yeah.
Right. Don't say anything. All right, providing information beyond the reach of onboard vehicle sensors. That's important because that's something the vehicle cannot do. Of course, not for safety critical information as we see it, but for safety relevant information it can be done, as well as for the other elements we just discussed for localization. Road geometry, semantics we heard, traffic rules, for instance, these are also hard to read from signs, but also live perception data, and ODD management was also mentioned as a topic. So basically, we can conclude that HD maps are required to provide the robustness and the redundancy for the vehicle system. And last but not least, I think, having a map of your environment or the environment you wish to control can be of strategic importance. So, some experiences with HD maps so far. Besides the ADAS maps we have in our current products available, there's also the HD maps, which is an expansion of that. You could see it used in research projects. A recent example is for automated robotic charging, where some kind of automated valet parking functionality is applied to trucks, where it can do robotic charging. We demonstrated recently. We made a map for that together with TU Eindhoven. In this case, it consists of 3 layers: a localization layer, a navigation layer, and a custom layer, which in this case, in fact, is being used to indicate the drivable area. The navigation layer is there for mainly the road geometry, but also speed information has been included there. And the point cloud information is for localization and on the top part. So that all combined forms the HD map. But there's more. So some work done in the MODI project in relation to HD maps. You see a picture on the respective HD map for the automated terminal operation application in Rotterdam. It is here to support, as a research topic, to support mixed traffic interaction with logistic systems, but also to find out what the balance should be between the infrastructure information as well as, say, the vehicle adaptations. Furthermore, what we try to investigate within MODI is the drayage operations. It's not pictured here, but in fact it's the route from this terminal to a nearby warehouse. So, a repetitive movement of containers can be found there. And this drayage operation, it's the question whether such an HD map approach could also be used in that application, since it covers partly also the public road. Thirdly, hub-to-hub operation is also being investigated over the Rotterdam to Oslo corridor. And there the same question holds, how should the HD map look like for such applications and what can be transferred? Probably there's some boundary between, let's say, the type of HD map used for closed course automation, like the terminal operation, and for the open road long distance applications. So we try to gain some practical experience there by actually using and investigating different solutions. So some lessons learned so far. Now, if you rely on an HD map for localization, then, well, occluded objects that you use for localization might become an issue. You can imagine a truck being parked closely between 2 other trucks with the sensors partly blocked, then also the localization performance will be degraded. Next to that, it's very important, of course, it's mentioned previously that HD maps need to be consistent and accurate, because if they're not, then you cannot rely on it and they work at least counterproductive. Most important here is that maps are maintained. We found this also at hand by actually doing it. Changes are being made to the infrastructure at the terminal. As an effect, the HD map is not correct anymore and you cannot rely on it. These are all practical learnings. Another interesting one is, well, the application of HD maps in other applications. If we talk to collaborators in the MODI project, then let's say supporting logistic coordination and planning, also for conventional vehicles, but also the digital twinning of a certain environment is an interesting application that could lead to business models for HD maps. Yeah, then there's still challenges also being investigated. Well, next to the accuracy, reliability, and trustworthiness, so the integrity of the information, it's also the privacy and data ownership that's currently under discussion in the industry, I would say. Furthermore, harmonization and standardization between countries, many times mentioned, need to be managed. And I'm talking mainly about the digital availability of traffic rules, regulations, road markings, and of course the infrastructure itself shall be, let's say, easily readable by the vehicle onboard sensors to make this verification. And at last, cost-effective deployment. I think that's a good one for the discussion, how that can be achieved and to get this mechanism going. All right, so the rest is, I think, for the discussions with some further ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question for you as well. So how do you, as a vehicle manufacturers, approach harmonization when you're managing multi-manufacturer fleets with different HD map systems?
Yeah, of course. Well, an initial answer would be to have more DAF vehicles on the road. Maybe that's not the one you're looking for. I think in general, there's a lot of, let's say, need for having a common definition of the different layers of the HD maps and the functionality those have. If you look at the different suppliers, there can be quite some differences using different names for the same things or different things having the same name, perhaps. That's what I found out, let's say. And furthermore, the interface of the HD map towards the vehicle, you mentioned the NDS.live interfacing. I don't think it's widely applied yet, but having a widely applied standard would there be definitely a requirement, so to say. And of course, at least some room for a competitive edge, but that was also mentioned.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Since we are already done the polls, we will jump to the next bit. And then you have to remember the polls because we will talk a little bit about it in the panel. So I would then like you all for presenters to come and join me on the stage here. So we will do some exercises and bit back and forth. Only one microphone, but I think that will work. So please join me on the side here. And first, I think we will start ladies first. Sophia, first question for all of you, so you will all be able to answer the question. And it ties in a little bit with the poll. So what are the most significant barriers to harmonizing HD maps? And how can we, there's industry, government, and academia oversee these together? So I'll leave it, Sophia, for you to answer first. Come up.
Should I cheat a bit and go back to the answers? Yeah, so biggest barriers, I think all the options here are very relevant. I would start with the limited collaboration, and this is probably the biggest barrier in a lot of technologies and innovations, because collaboration is about understanding what the use case is, understanding where the problem or the improvement can lie. And before we talk about harmonization, I think we need to understand what are the needs for each actor for the information that is stored in HD maps, and then see how we can create a platform for the sharing of this information with the right standards and the right IT infrastructure for its maintenance and update.
Yeah, I think the biggest barriers are really the high cost or the high investment companies need to make to build HD maps, and then of course they want to protect their propriety, and then also have maybe a competitive advantage, and then everybody keeps it more or less for themselves. But how or this is also part of this question, how to overcome these barriers. I think, and then this is what I already mentioned before, I think this really needs to come from the customers, from OEMs, saying, okay, we want to have this harmonized, and then, in my opinion, industry will find a way to have this, but maintaining competition. So I think there needs to be a balance on this. So, yeah.
maybe Gus, you want to continue since
Yeah.
together with Christian.
I can imagine the bridge indeed. I think point 3 also limited collaboration. You need collaboration at the end because an HD map is a result from a combined effort. So the biggest barrier is to have that. Well, it's actually the reason why we participate in projects like MODI. And then there should be a driver defined, which is then forming the business case at the end of the day. Starting small, preferably, with data that is maybe shareable, publicly available. I think that also holds to the second question. And then from there on, it starts to move on, because if a supplier makes something that is very nice and very complicated, but highly proprietary and therefore very expensive, then probably no one will be using it at the end of the day. We only increase, let's say, the barrier in order to go forward with those developments. So that would be my addition.
Yes, I think I agree with Christian here that high costs are a big barrier, but I think the high cost also is connected to the limited collaboration. Because as we talk about from the authority side, we have a lot of data that can be shared, and I think if we collaborate, we can get data more cost efficient. We can maintenance data, we can collect data from crowdsourcing, and we can deliver sort of one set of prioritized data that everybody could get access to. And if we can do that, I think it will be overcome some of these barriers. Maybe a year ago I would have said lack of standardization, but actually I think it's been a good job the last couple of years of standardization. It's still a way to go, but I really think that is something that have been done in the last time.
Thank you very much. We have another question, which is a little bit related to the poll number 2. So we have then, so how can the CCAM community build trust among the stakeholders on open and sustainable HD map business models? So what kind of actions would you say is important for accelerate the HD map development? So you want to go back, start with Gus? Do you want to start again? Yeah.
I think the answer was already given by Tore, because I think we did this in order to be successful should start small, with publicly available data and standards, giving users a foundation to apply the solutions and to build forward on that. And I think there's no harm in sharing, let's say, generic data in a generic format, maybe driven by legislation initially, and then build forward on that, and then where needed add proprietary functionality also in this HD map. But there needs to be a step made, and maybe the step is being made already from an ADAS map perspective. If that's properly integrated, then that can form that foundation where we are perhaps looking for. So to give an answer here, it's basically the development of sustainable business models that is at the foundation of having the right HD map solutions in our vehicles.
Yes, I'm afraid I don't have so much to add. I completely agree with the previous speaker. I think the development of sustainable business models is the number one factor that will accelerate HD map development, because we need to understand the need. If there is need, there's gonna be development as well, and there's gonna be actors willing to invest, and also users willing to consume this technology. So I definitely think that this is the most important one.
maybe just that. So first of all, maybe lowering the production cost by using public available data or open data, which is there, but also when it comes to commercial data. So I'm thinking more on maybe vehicle data, vehicle sensor data. I think we need more and clearer, license rights or formalized license rights to get access to this data and have clear regulation there, and to develop business models, not to hinder business models. So it should be something, data needs to be available, but helping business models. So, and not saying, okay, this data needs to be made available for free or as open data, because then we have the problem that maybe the quality is not good, and then there's no intention to do this. So we need some incentives on this. Just to...
Yes, a short. I think that the public and private partnership is important here also. We talked about the collaboration, we need to improve a bit the collaboration. And as taxpayers, we have paid for a lot of the data that the public authorities have been producing, and it should be possible to use them and to make access to the data and to collaborate with the private companies. Of course, they will have their business models. They have to make money out of this, and they will supply the set of data that the government will deliver. But I think if we have a good partnership there, it should be a good thing to accelerate the HD map deployment.
Thank you very much, everyone. We will start to end the session. And again, thank you all for your great comments and your presentations. But I would like to invite you back up on the stage for a very short closing remark from each of you to highlight some of the main things, the main topics that you see that we should work towards when it comes to the deployment of HDMap. So who wanna start? Christian, do you wanna do? Yep, thank you.
So good question. No, but I think what really is important is this public-private cooperation, and then also to define what data public can deliver and produce, maybe also in the future. So as is already mentioned, this digital traffic regulation orders to speeden up the creation and also maintenance of the map, because when it's also only relied on data which is collected but not really proactively produced, then we always will lag behind. Yeah, that's
perfect. Thank you. Good.
Yeah, a small comment I would say is to start small with the subject and then expand from there. I think that's what I wanted to add here, and nothing more. In fact, like for many of the European project subjects, it's a matter of not having, let's say, the solution on the table, but also having an understanding of the problem that you wish to solve with it, especially for the next step to come in the deployment phase. Then, it's not a solution that we sell; it's the problem that we try to tackle from our customers. So having the right solution with it, that's why we do the projects. But then having that solution in place, that should be affordable and available. So start small.
Safira, do you want to?
Closing remark from my side. I think HD maps are a space, let's say, of collaboration. We could make this kind of analogy in the sense that there are multiple stakeholders that are involved in their creation and their maintenance. And I think that together with the excitement of what they can offer, we might need to also take an approach to see what exactly is the information we need, if this volume of information can be applied in all use cases, and maybe start separating the different levels of information to the different use cases before we move on with topics like standardization and data harmonization and so on. Thank you.
Tore?
Yes. Yeah, one closing remark. I think that HD map will play an important role in automated and connected transport, along with good position services. It's also crucial, I think. It's important that the public sector, mapping authorities and road administration can deliver good services and standardized data to private company that want to deliver HD map to the industry. I think that should be the most important role for the authorities. We don't think that we should produce the HD map. We will produce the delivered data for the HD map, so the industry can make the HD map. To make this possible, it's in the most cost-efficient way and equal access. A key here is collaboration between public sector, counties, municipality, and private industry. And we know that a map is old the second it's have been delivered. The update frequency and maintenance is dependent on good collaboration, also between authorities that have different kind of data. And like I want to mention, in Norway, we have a close cooperation with the Public Road Authority and also the National Mapping Authority to deliver good data to the private sector, to the navigations, and that I think it's important between the authorities, and also collaboration between countries. In MODI, we have a collaboration, for instance, with the Japanese project, and we also need good user story from the industry, so the authorities can produce what the user need. And also I think that AI can help us, and the focus on digital twins will take us forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tore, and thank you to all our 4 presenters and panelists. Give a huge applause. And like Tore said, that collaboration is probably one of the major topics for the improvement of HD maps and going forward. And we still have 2 days left of the conference, so you have a huge possibility to collaborate even more. So thank you for joining us today, and hope that you enjoy now the demonstration and the exhibition. And I'll see you later. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you.